So are you actually a Yoshi player? Not that it matters, but...
No. No. Peach.
Peach?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did play Fox for like 3 years, but I started playing Peach a couple months ago.
Okay. And what are you looking for from, what are the main things you're really looking for improvement? Like, if you had to... Because you sought out this service for a reason.
Really, I just want to play and kind of pick out some of the habits that I do often. Also, like, I think a large part of being better is getting over like a neutral game hump. I feel like there's something that's kind of like blocking me from improving, especially against cheat players. So that's definitely new.
Okay, so habits, neutral game, and looking to play.
Yeah, I mean, just like mentality overall, really.
Well, I think that I can definitely help you with those three. Okay. And let's play some matches. Let me just turn the... Do you mind if I turn the music down a bit?
Oh, no, that's totally fine.
Okay, do you want to do stock matches?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Custom rules, no options. Alright. There. And yeah, let's play some games. Nice DI. Knowing to DI away from Sheik's down throw, definitely good. Yeah, be careful with that, be careful with the panic buttons in the corner. Yeah, you're really good. You're at your best when you're when you have control of center stage.
Yeah, I have a bad habit of like letting myself go to the corner, and I just like control so easy because I just like panic, especially like when they're coming down from the platform.
Yeah, the mix up in the corner needs, I think, is something that I'm noticing that is a bit of a weakness, a bit of an area that could be a little bit more fleshed out. Yeah, like you look really comfortable when you're fighting me in center, but see what I mean? Like as soon as you get into the corner. I think that's something that might help you is trying to commit to options that aren't so heavy when you're in the corner. Like just wave dashing back, holding your stage, walking forward to threaten, dash forward, wave dash back, or even rolling through me. Like they're not bad, but you usually attack or sidestep or start shielding.
I definitely have like a really bad habit of like getting up and then rolling immediately.
Yeah, see, like when you do that, it forces me to like respect that because I have to actually outrange your neutral air because it's pretty safe on my defenses. So yeah, and then you can start like coming forward with faster options that have more range on them, like your dash attack. Once I start trying to outspace your like Nair and whatever, or your walk forward, wave dash back mix up. It just gives you more like depth to your game in that position. Yeah. See, if you didn't down smash there, that roll would have worked. But again, it's like your first step is getting a little. Your first step is looking a little cleaner.
I have a lot of trouble like approaching Sheik because she just has like really quick options like cut me off. That's something that's kind of been like a large barrier, I feel like.
So the way that something important to understand about Sheik, if we go into like time for a second.
Yeah.
Because this is a really quick thing that you can learn, but it's really useful. So when Sheik jumps like this, she has this she usually doesn't start coming down until about the peak of her jump. Like she doesn't swing with an aerial until the peak of her jump because she wants the auto cancel and she wants to protect. Because if I do this on your shield, this is actually like super punishable by like Nair or anything. So I always do my aerials like this. But because I'm doing them delayed, you can actually just attack me during my startup.
So I should just try to like fair and air you?
I think Nair and up air. Nair, up air, and back air are the good ones.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense actually.
You can also dash attack the landing, and that's like good for if I start like trying to like outspace those options, then you can dash attack like that exactly. So that's how you kind of threaten that landing. And then you can also do the Armada wave dash back down tilt, which also adds
that's like so hard for me. I never get that. Like I try it, but I feel like I just mistime it or like miss space really.
Okay. Well, the trick to that one is you want to get me used. You want to get me kind of approaching you or trying to go deeper onto your attack. So you want to start with crouch because that forces me to aim at a specific spot and then you would do the wave dash back. Because if you're standing up, it's really easy to hit Peach because she's so tall, but if you're crouching, you shrink your body.
Okay, that kind of makes sense.
It's kind of like, you know how when Jigglypuff is crouching in front of you, how you have to aim really low?
Yeah.
So then she sometimes just jumps out and attacks you?
Uh-huh.
Instead of jumping out and attacking, you're moving back. That's it. It's the same idea, though.
So I'm just baiting you into hitting like a position, and then I'm backing up and then
exactly.
using the down tilt.
Bingo. And Sheik's low air mobility works really well for baiting people like this. And you can still mix that up with all the aerial stuff that you just like learned with up air and short up nair, and if you're facing away from me, short up back air. Because again, I'm aiming low to the ground, so you just pop out and hit me.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. You're still invincible, man. You can't go for that down sash.
I thought it was gonna end.
I stole the invincibility from Fox, so it never ends. Nice. I like the choice to retreat there because it means that you're not like, if I can try to continue on like a panic button, then you don't get hit by it. And getting underneath my my forward air jump space was really good there. That can happen. Like she might like back up and like grab or something instead of attacking with your jump. Like that's kind of like my counterplay to the jump ins. But if you read that and like set up float, then that's an easy way that you can earn float for free. You can also just back up and pull turnips too. I think turnips are pretty good versus Sheik because her low air mobility makes it hard for her to jump around them. But you don't want to float low in front of her because I prioritize the forward air. Good. Going through me. Nope, grab edge. Always grab edge. Always grab edge on her.
Alright.
Because the turnip is good for like forcing me low, but you already went through the effort of doing that.
I realized I had the turnip, and that like kind of put me in a bad spot, so because I had to throw it before I got on.
Actually, you don't have to. You can just get up and float cancel there.
Oh, definitely. Okay. Yeah, most of the time I like get up and like that.
Yeah. But float cancel nair is nice because you can just you can still do it while you're holding the turnip, so there's no penalty for holding the turnip. Aw, floated too close.
Yeah.
If you
I try to like get them to hit that. They try to go for the bear, and then I kind of float in after that. But
you
it is kind of fast.
You could air dodge through it too. Like you could outspace it, or you could try to air dodge through it. They're both okay.
All right.
You have to do the air dodge kind of early though. Don't corner yourself while you're pressuring me. You want to keep me... Because your character kills me from edge guarding, and you don't like being in the corner in general because of how like low your mobility is. So just try to like keep your back to the center of the stage while you're pressuring me. Yeah. Yeah, this is so much harder to get in on. I haven't really seen you grab me much. Like, I think you've gone for the one, but it's really good in pressure strings on Sheik in general. Nice. Oh, you used your jump. That would have been really cool, but I still think it's better to just grab the edge.
Like when I chased you out there, I should have just held ledge.
Well, you want to like float to a spot where you can check. Like if you float out and you see that I'm not in range, like if you go to about like this spot and you realize that the fair's not going to hit, then that's kind of your cue to like abort mission and return to the edge quickly.
Okay.
That way you can like check, because you going for that fair means that I can just recover to the edge. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like have a bad habit of like overextending for those like edge guard punish.
Well, they're fun and they look cool and they get you in the highlight reel, but I mean, remember to grab me after your float cancel aerial sometime, because it's really good. Because the jab is unsafe on shield, and you're not really getting anything out of it either.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, just like toss Sheik off, set up edge guard. You were a little bit slow on that edge grab. I think you had to wave dash to grab the edge there because of the distance. Careful with those down tilts in the corner, though. I'm kind of catching on to them. Nice drift. Avoiding the reverse fair. The only thing I would change about that play, I really like the setup you went for there. I would have found time to pull a turnip, though. Because it gives you a lot of, like, reach in front of you. They're just also generally very annoying. Yeah. Because when I'm holding the edge, you have the time to set up with one. Okay. So it gives you a way of threatening immediately in front of you, and you can still go into your float while holding one, so it doesn't actually change your options that severely. Mm-hmm. It just gives you a way of, like, contesting me at a distance, really, which is pretty valuable.
Yeah.
On Sheik, the float cancel aerial combos only usually work once. Like, you get like one float cancel aerial near the ground level, and then you have to kind of switch to full jumps and short hops and stuff, just because of how her weight works.
Yeah.
Unless she's at, like, specifically, like, 0 or something. You thought I was going to land on stage, I see.
Yep.
When she's got you in the corner, try to be a little bit more patient. That nair is not... Low aerial is not going to be shield grabbable. So if you can just wave dash to out of shield to reposition, or something, or just a repositioning, and when Sheik's pressuring your shield in general, it's really good to reposition, just because it's hard for her to chase retreat actions out of shield without committing. Yeah, exactly. See? It's hard for me to, like, actually chase that. There we go. Yeah, you have to bully my jump more. That's so much better. Because it makes me, like, scared to do it. So then I have to play, like, I have to play on the back foot. And Sheik wants to be pressuring Peach. See, the jabs really aren't doing anything for you. No. So what do you think you could do instead that would be better?
I mean, grab, or maybe just, like, nair again.
Yeah, I think those are both good options. You could also maybe down smash if you've shrunk my shield a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, the first down smash usually doesn't work on Sheik, like, after the first aerial, just because of how big her shield is, but after, like, maybe 2 aerials, why not, right? Yeah, like, kind of like hit, grab, like, float cancel aerial, like, space it outside the shield grab range, then do another one. You could float cancel aerial, grab. You could probably float cancel aerial down smash, but you want to wait for my shield to be a little bit depleted first. Anything like that seems really good. You could also just float cancel aerial, wait outside my range, try to react to how I move out of shield. Like if I roll into you and you don't do anything, then that can be really, really good for you. If you're outside my shield grab range, then and you don't do anything and I whiff shield grab, that can be really good for you too. So waiting's like a pretty strong mix-up too. You could even dash out of like my shield grab range if you land inside it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the jab really doesn't do anything. I find that I find it's good when you're trying to wall me out in combat because float cancel aerial into double jab, there's not enough time to grab between those 2 hits.
Yeah.
But on shield pressure you can usually do more.
So I should just like use it as a poke.
Yeah, it's a poke. It's a poke, not a pressure tool.
Okay. Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh shit! That was sick. Needle grab. When she full jumps like this, you can usually assume that she's gonna like that's usually a pretty big like signal. One of her main options out of that is the needle. So do you know how you beat the needle?
It's not safe on shield, is it?
It is.
It is safe. Needle grab, like is like like.
It's not like a true combo, but like if I do the needles perfectly, like i.e. I land the frame after one hits your shield, I'm actually +2. Like I'm actually at frame advantage. So okay. you don't want to be using your shield to like tank them. You want to be moving away from them because they shoot in like a triangle. Do you kind of see the range?
Yeah, I like the 45 angle.
Yeah, so you either stay outside of it, or you run under them.
Run in? Okay. No, that's like, yeah, and then just
exactly
jump up.
Bingo. Kalamazoo, actually, though, in the games where he's taken, in the sets where he's taken games from me, usually that's how that's how it happens. Like he just runs under my needles because I get into a habit, like into a pattern with them, and then he just up airs me and I die, and I'm like, well. I was like, well, we knew it was a high risk, we knew it was a high reward play. Yeah, called out that side step. If they're gonna call that out though, you can actually just move through them, like wave dash or something. Wave dash, roll, attacking them is pretty good. Any of them work. You can even, like, what Jamrun's done against me, he's a Peach from my region. He's sometimes just grabbed in that position and thrown me back off stage. It's really risky, but it's anything to, like, make the pattern more unpredictable. Because that's ultimately a risk, that's ultimately a mix-up situation. Got right under that forward air.
Fuck.
Yeah, I tried to call out a shield or counterattack, and you just rolled through. It's okay to grab me there. If I'm like holding shield in front of you and I'm like at, 50 plus, it's so good to just like throw me off stage. Because your forward throw is such a good way of setting up an edge guard.
Probably should just like back throw on you there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so too. I think back throw makes a lot more sense. Although down throw, if I DI into it, kills me, so that's worth considering. Yep. You know the difference between the stand timings, which is really good. A lot of people don't know that it's a lot of people don't stand up correctly on Sheik when she's over 100.
You mean when she's getting up from the ledge?
Yeah, like when you're edge guarding Sheik, and Sheik is over 100. No, you're over 100, and Sheik is at whatever percent. A lot of times...
yeah, I have to get up earlier.
Yeah, it's the first warp of the like the first kind of like mini jump that she does. That's how I always like know it, but... I think if you're gonna go for that down throw near the edge, you have to like you have to at least cover me jumping into you with a turnip. I mean, not a turnip, with a down air. Because as it stands, you're not really like covering anything with how you're setting up the edge guard.
Yeah.
So like, if you're gonna go for that gimp, I still think back throw is more stable and does more damage, so it's still better. But like, if you're gonna go for down throw is still viable. But you still have to you have to structure your gimp a little bit better, like a little bit differently. Like the float aerial's right, but the choice of aerial is not, because you're not really covering the place I can like potentially bonk my double jump into. Whereas down air covers like that important section off stage. Like it covers like here where my feet are. So if I double jump or up B into that, then your down air actually hits that. But if you're floating up and covering where Sheik's torso is, I can just sweet spot underneath that every time. Oh, I got MacD'd. I held down. No! Yeah, when you see Sheik miss that, you just have to jump on her. Like, attack her right away. Because it's like a pretty big window. The boost grab, I mean.
Yeah.
You DI'd away, though, at the end. So, well, you would have survived if you hadn't accidentally fared. I can tell you really want to kill me right now because of my percent and everything, but you have to kind of control that desire to kill me and still be a little patient, because I've gotten a lot of damage out of you just rushing me with kill moves.
Yeah.
So, I know it's tempting to go for like trades and stuff, but people who actually know how to fight Peach will start like looking for the fact that you want to get that trade. So you have to still be kind of patient and play a little bit, like hold back a little bit. I actually think that was a place where you could have down thrown pretty effectively.
When you were by the tree?
Yeah.
Oh, just because it cuts off like one of your...
Yeah, exactly. Could have also back thrown, maybe. Back throw is worth consideration.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how you kept pressure on me when I was next to the tree, though, because that's one of your character's big advantages. You produce hitboxes a lot more efficiently than I do.
Mm-hmm. I just figured it would up air, but
The up air was fine. I meant on I don't mean on the first grab. I mean on like one of the later ones. Like when I had the whole platform to tech to, I just kind of thought that like that was. Okay, good. You pulled back. See, whenever you get to go for that jab on shield, I just know, like, if I just back up, he can't follow up on this. And Peach has trouble chasing that. You could potentially read that with a dash attack if you were wanted to gamble it, but I just think it's better to just initiate, like, have a safer initiation, like a more productive initiation on shield. Like, what is the jab really covering, right? That's kind of my question. I kind of gave you a lot of space to grow during that interaction. If you see that somebody's giving you that much space, especially Sheik, they're usually looking for you to roll in, so you can take your time, like, moving forward and threatening through space. Don't have to, the last thing you want to do is roll into a grappler's space. Yeah, right idea. Still think the jab was superfluous, but I like that you're at least going for the grab.
No, yeah, I'm like trying not to do it, but it's like it's so ingrained that I have to like think about not throwing a jab out.
I got you. Still, it's good because like the grab is really throwing somebody off stage. A character with a bad recovery off stage is so valuable. And it's like, the jab, it just kind of gives them a window to get out of your pressure string. But just even, like, having the grab in the rotation, like, discourages me from holding shield for that long. So that can make the jab more, like, effective. Even if it's still not great, it's still gonna, like, potentially cause me to jump out of shield or roll or something, which the jab can catch. So they kind of work together. Even if it's not optimal, they still work together.
I mean, I'm starting to see the situations that punishing me for like jabbing your shield.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's gonna be like good incentive to like learn to not do it all the time.
Makes sense. Your combos are cleaner though. See, like, when you can't reach the edge in time, that's kind of your cue to back up and just, like, set up shop.
Pull up, turn up, yeah.
Yeah, well, you don't have to necessarily pull the turnip, but, like, you definitely want to back up from the invincible Sheik. Like,
yeah.
There's no point messing with that character. She's almost as good as Invincible Fox. Maybe even better in this matchup. Her grab always works. Careful with those down smashes there. Because, like, I'm Sheik, right? So I have, like, a huge shield. So it's not as good of, like... It's not as good of a poke there as it is in some of the other matchups. Where their shields are bad. Had to get up a little earlier, but that's okay.
Do you think I should have just thrown you off stage there?
Yeah. Remember, I'm looking for the fact that you want to kill me right now. So you have to be like, you can't just like try to force your hit on me. You have to kind of like mix me up or outposition me. It's not enough, because if you just try to like kill me and like kill me very directly, then I'm just gonna keep shielding or moving back and just kind of nickel and dime you with grabs and like forward airs and other pokes. Because my pokes are longer than yours, so I kind of want you to try to force your way in. Nice. I was like, where's the dash attack? Where is it? But then you just didn't do it. So then I like let my guard down for it and started playing around the aerials, and then you switch to those. And then you switch back to dash attack. It's really good. Good flow with your stance. I think you can actually hit that tech roll away with soft dash attack if you're willing to read it. Because you definitely were reading the tech roll away because you ran across the stage really early.
Yeah.
But I think you have to dash attack to reach that. But it's good. It's okay there because it pushes me off stage. So then you just give me anyway. I think you had to stall the edge a bit. Refresh your resources and like refresh your recovery invincibility, and then see what my willingness to come forward was. Nice roll. Avoids the fair grab. I don't know what the ideal follow is on that one actually. Like after you up air me onto the platform, I actually don't know what the next step of the combo is. Probably float cancel there, maybe?
Yeah, that's like kind of what I was going for, but the frying pan came out.
I'm actually, when I'm spacing my back airs like that, I'm actually giving you a tiny corner of the stage to move to. Because I'm not, like, advancing with them. So you can actually move to, like, this area. Like that spot. And set up, like, your next play. The last thing you want to do is, like, kind of move into, like, Sheik's back air. Yeah, exactly. See what I mean? There's other plays you could go for. It's honestly not even that bad to forward smash there. Just to like get me off.
Forward smash your back air when you're pressuring me in the corner?
Yeah, like wave dash back to the spot where they're missing you, and then you just kind of go under where her leg is, because your forward smash swings down to up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it can actually anti-air it. It's tricky, but it kind of works.
No, I've never thought about doing it before.
Yeah. What you did was fine, though. Like, dash attack goes under it, so... Ha! Ran through me. Nice. A slow get-up is really dangerous there. Do you know about the air dodge recovery you can do?
Yeah, I mean, where I just back off and then double jump to the air dodge.
Yeah, I think that one is better there when you're over 100, just because it takes less time to complete, so it's harder to react to. And I think the invincibility you have coming up is like slightly better than the standard get-up. At least over 100. Under 100, it's fast enough that you can still kind of get away with doing it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you mix up like the other options. That ledge jump is usually a free dash attack or nair. So if somebody misses that, then you can usually just take a freebie on them. You kind of had two options there, like two good options when you dash attacked me, or up aired me rather. You could have pulled the turnip. That was option one. Option B was you could continue to run under me and threaten to dash attack or nair me as I'm coming down. That's also pretty good. I think they both have merit, but I think I would dash attack nair are more likely to kill me. But I think that the turnip is like a very safe line, so definitely defensible. Yeah, when she's just like teetering in front of Sheik and Sheik just, yeah. Kind of gave me the edge, like the option to go for the edge on some of those setups. Nice.
Survival. Ready, go!
I did not think you were going to go for the second aerial, but you've got to keep an eye out for when Sheik is trying to put you in like kind of her needle triangle.
Yeah.
Because it's really good versus crouch cancel. So when I go up into the air, that's kind of like your cue to like move back or move forward, depending on if you can get under it or not. Exactly. See how you got under it there, and you were able to like protect yourself. But if you stay in it, then you're usually conceding a grab or something, and that's not good. Yeah, you're doing yeah, exactly. Pressure her free fall spots so she can't use that option, because that option is one of the ones that are really difficult to interact with. Like directly, I mean. Once it's already kind of happening, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. That's the problem. That's why it's a strong play. Whereas with her other moves, like, they're weak, so if your damage is low, you can still do things about them, but needles are special. You're an exception for sure. It's also okay to just move outside of the way of them. Like, yeah, you lose some stage, but you don't get grabbed, which is like way worse. Because losing stage is kind of like a... It's kind of like a... sort of a disadvantage, but not really, because you having space between us is okay for you, because it means that you can potentially pull turnips or set up your float easily. which are both good. But getting grabbed is just there's no good way to slice that one. Yeah. I like that you knew where your combo was done there. That's really important versus Sheik. So you don't accidentally like fly off stage and now you're getting gimped by the character. I still think
that I should DI towards the platform when you throw me, or should I just try to make you fair me and like DI away?
I think that it's generally better to DI away because if you give me the vertical kill, I'm gonna get it every single time. Yeah. Whereas you can always try to super DI the forward air and possibly survive with some crazy horizontal smash DI or something. Mm-hmm. But up air is basically a death sentence once you hit X%.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to just try to tank the forward air. If you can hit the platform, that can be pretty good, but I think I can get you at that percent before you can even get the platform. Yeah.
I mean, I was noticing situations where I thought that maybe if I had DI'd like down the way, you might have like had to reach the forward air, but instead I went to the platform and you just wave dash up, or you just jump, wave land, and then grab me.
Oh, you mean at low? You mean at low percents? At low percent.
More like mid, but.
I think it's better to take the waveland grab just because you can just keep holding away. Whereas if you willingly give her the up air combo, that can go really nasty really fast.
Yeah.
Because she might get like up air back air, which is already like 24 damage or 25 damage. Like actually, up air back air is 26, isn't it? Yeah, up air back air is like 26, assuming both at full power. And then she usually gets something else. And if you DI and if you have the audacity to ever like DI in on the first up air, then she can just go nuts. So I think it's better to just accept the positional disadvantage and just mitigate and shrink the damage.
Okay.
I don't know. There's kind of two lines of thought on that though. One is you have more counterplay coming down on Sheik than you do out of the corner, which is a decent argument. But I think that for how valuable damage is to Sheik, because of her guaranteed vertical kill, I would try to not give her that damage, like, ever. But Armada sometimes gets away with DIing behind me a lot. But he also never gets hit by the multiple up airs, because he always DIs the up air perfectly, so I have to stop at one back air. So, I guess if you can shrink the damage to just one up air into back air, then it's okay to do it. But otherwise, I think that your DI is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I know, that's a lot of information for just, like, a two-hit combo, but... Basically, what I think you're doing is okay. But Armada sometimes does the other route. And it might be good to, like, test them to see if they're better at one or the other. I mean, it is a guaranteed combo, right? So, maybe they suck at one of them. Oh, nice interception. Did you think I was dead?
I thought that you might go for lead, so I just, like, didn't get you yet.
Oh, no. You always stand up.
Yeah, I knew I should have, like, once I saw you poop on there.
You can cover both with the same stand timing. Like, if you want, we can go over that really quickly, but you can cover both outcomes with the same stand-up timing. It's about what you just did, actually. Now, okay. See, that's where throwing the turnip
ruined it.
That's where throwing the turnip up. I don't like it on Sheik.
Yeah, I actually like had thought about that recently because I did do that for a little bit because I do it against like Marth, but it's different because like,
Sheik is invincible. So
So
she
like you go up for it, and then it like hits you and kind of ruins like where I could have covered if I like stood up, I guess.
exactly like
Uh,
because Sheik's invincible. I can kind of like place where I want. I can time when I get hit by the turnip really conveniently, whereas Marth isn't. So he just kind of flies up into it and then gets hit, which is the big difference. So even though they both have really good vertical recoveries. The fact that one's invincible and one's not makes it really different for that situation. Which is important, like... Yeah. I don't think on that one it matters where you go. You're dead pretty much no matter how I do it. See, I think a lot of Peaches in that situation would, like, DI to try to avoid being cornered, but I actually like what you're doing more, because it just gives you the ability to get to the ground quicker, which is where all your, like, important counterattack options come from. Because playing around Nair is really easy with Sheik because of how much range and dash dance speed I have. Whereas, once you hit the ground, I basically... If I don't want to interact with your crouch cancel, I basically have to grab you. And you're doing a really good job of, like, you're mixing up, like, how you're defending yourself. Oh, you tricked me. Nice. Yeah. That float to outspace the back air is so hard. I almost killed myself.
I wonder what you're doing down there.
I was just like, wait, I didn't grab the edge. Oops. Careful with those dash attacks. I'm reading them now. So you have to mix up with something. Or you have to like change something about how you're doing them. Yep, putting a delay works. That is an acceptable answer. That's also an acceptable answer. That's why I don't like down smashing over float cancel nairing.
Yeah, because I send you back onto this sometimes.
Well, it's actually entirely DI dependent. So what I'm doing on that one is I'm DIing down on the first hit and up on the second one. So I kind of go through you, and then I fly up. Like, you know how her down smash hits you the opposite direction of what side she's on?
Yeah.
So I'm DIing down on one hit, and then I'm DIing up on the second one. So I get to the other side of you, and then I fly up. That's what I'm doing. So it's entirely, like, me controlled. So it's not actually you controlled. There are tricks with down smash that actually prevent that from happening. You just, like, tip it. And then it prevents me from, like, flying to the other side of you on the first DI. But float cancel nair is a lot easier to do. It's good in a pinch, though. Like, down smash is still good when you don't have the time to set up something that elegant. See, that's so awkward for me to work through.
The turnip wall?
Yeah, because, like, my character doesn't have much air mobility, so when you're just, like, I have a lot of platform mobility, but that's not relevant for where you're setting up shop. So it kind of forces me to, like, make a decision as to, like, how I want to cross through. I could also potentially catch them, but then I can't do my aerials. so you can potentially rush me down during that time, or set up, like, ground game. Like, you can set up on it, basically. I could also camp Needles back. I think that's kind of what I tried, but they don't actually really interact with what you're doing. They just kind of, like, we both kind of, like, stalemate or build a resource of our choice. And depending on how lucky the Peach is, that can either be really good or bad for me. I just kind of assumed you'd keep moving that way.
I was like fishing for the down smash, like when I was cornered in the tree.
Yeah, so then that cost you a lot of damage and put you at the kill percent for up smash.
Uh-huh.
See, I think you're starting to notice that, but you're starting to realize it's whenever you start like looking for something too hard, that's when things usually go south.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like definitely like have a tunnel vision problem, like where I like set my mind on one specific punish that I want to fish for that. But I just need to be like more dynamic in like my option selecting.
More flexible. I like to think of it as like being flexible because you have like powerful options, but then you have ones that give you like more potential routes. I think that what you need when you really shine is when you're like when you're hitting the balance of them. I think that's probably why center stage is really good for you because you can look for it. Kind of lends itself to the combination, but it's really easy with Peach, especially when you're in the corner, to start like really looking for a counterattack. Because it's like, if I get it, it solves the situation. But you can't think that way. Because somebody will start looking for, like, your counterattack. Nice sidestep. I don't think you've sidestepped out on Needle Grab once so far. So that was a good mix-up. Like, a good option to integrate there. I don't think that side B really did anything for you.
No, not really. I just got back air it again.
I guess maybe it could have like stalled you for Randall. That could be potentially valuable. I would have bet everything on dash attack there. But then you grabbed me. So I would have lost everything. Nice. Tomahawk float. Tomahawk float, so pro.
I like it, but I fish for it sometimes, and then they just like aerial me out of my float. But I guess it's just like a mix-up.
Okay, the alarm just went off, so I think we're getting really close to the 1 hour mark. So I think we have enough time for one more game after this one.
Okay.
The mix-ups you're adding are really helping you though, because you're more willing to like do things that I don't expect. So that makes it a lot harder to read. A lot of Peaches lose just because they get their panic buttons or their pressure options like red, because they go for like the really strong, the ones that are just like always really powerful. Whereas you're being a little bit more patient and willing to like just suss out the situation. I wouldn't have gone. I think you could have hit that if you nared, maybe. Like back air hitting behind you? Maybe. A little slow. Right idea though. I think that you should at least like try the air dodge in that position, or like try something like going under me even, and then like contesting me with the umbrella to stop the up B. Just anything, because just floating into that space, a lot of times I know that you're just inching back a little bit, so I can just like compensate to how you're moving. But if you like add a little bit, a few other, like another option that requires me to cover it differently there, then that could go a long way to improving your recovery on Sheik back air. Yeah, exactly. Like, it may seem like some of these are options that if I predict them are really bad, but the idea is that you have a bunch of, they all require distinct answers, so I can't cover all of them at once. Yeah.
Put myself in a really bad position when I floated back to the corner. I don't know, like, I got sketched and I was like, gotta get out of there.
Yeah, and then because you had pressure on your positional pressure on yourself, you tried to solve it with a dash attack, got counter grabbed. Yeah. It's just like everything kind of went downhill from that point. Taking center, good. Needed to be a little bit faster on that one. A little bit earlier. The main thing is, I think that sometimes when you're in the corner, you get dash attack happy. You're really, when you control that impulse and you use the other options, it's a lot harder to read you coming out, which is really, really, really important. I think your DI is actually really good against this character in general.
Nice.
Because you just basically always hold away, and that's correct. Like,
yeah, I mean, I have played against Sheik a lot, so I'm like so used to, like, had such a bad habit of holding in. I just get like F tilted like 3 times in a row, and it's like,
oh my god, yeah, like back in the day, when people still held in on this character, it would be like F tilt, triple up air, forward air, and it's like, what does this even mean?
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen? I don't know.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah, but no, you always hug the ground, which is really, really important. I think for recovery, it's sometimes you're misjudging Sheik's back air spacing, which is causing you to drift into it, or you don't drift out on it enough when you're doing that float thing. I think that mixing up some other options could help you there because I basically am just starting to stalk how you do that drift back. But if you mixed up like air dodging through me or like dropping underneath me, because my back air hits mainly above me, so dropping your float and going under it's pretty strong. I think you did that on one of your last stocks. That could be that could be strong. But also just learning the distance a little bit better could help you a lot. Then beyond that, just making sure that you have the option during your combos to grab the edge is so key on this character. I think all the other things are all the other adjustments are are a little bit more optional, but you absolutely have to keep the option to grab the edge at the end of your combo open versus Sheik, because that's how you kill her.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end, I started not to down smash anymore, and I was like, sad. and I could just like see how much I was working out.
Yeah, for sure. Beyond that, yeah, I think that beyond that, I think you have some good habits though, like some really important good habits to have versus this character.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
No.
Is this good for now?
Yeah. No. Totally fine. We're all
Okay.
good.
Okay.
I got my notes, so
All right,
I know
sick.
to